Hello, guys, can you hear me? Guys, I'm Vansh Goel, Research Leader at CodeChef-VIT. Welcome to this webinar. You can hear me, please type hey or something in the chat. I got a hey. Okay, cool. Start the webinar soon. The people who have already joined, if you know anything about Flutter, have any previous experience, you can share them. If you have any doubts throughout the session, you can mention them in the comments. I'll try to handle all the getting some guys. Because there's one thing about Flutter web apps. Flutter web is still under beta, so it's not recommended by Google to use for production use, but we can still learn it as it will still move to the like stable branch soon enough. Like mostly next quarter, it will move to the branch, so we can obviously use it. And there's not many problems right now. So, for building web apps with Flutter, we are organizing this webinar in lieu of Flutter Day. It is organized by Google today and tomorrow. So we'll start now. I'll tell you some basic theory about Flutter in starting 10-15 minutes, and then we'll move on to making a portfolio website. So I'll show you what we'll make soon enough. So first, let's see what is Flutter all about and how it works. Okay. So there's something called widgets. So for in Flutter, widget is a functional building block, and everything is made up of widgets. So everything you see a simple text or you see a simple image, or even your web app itself is a widget. Okay, so everything you see on your screen is a widget itself. So you can see some basic widgets in this example. So like Material app. Material app is a basic app layout which can be used to make your web app. It is provided by Google in the Material package along with other Material UI elements. And then there's something called Scaffold. Scaffold basically provides a page frame so that you can you can put body, header, footer in every page. So you might be need to add different pages in a website like about us, contacts. So every different page will be a different scaffold. Yeah. So for organizing layout on your web app, what you will need is these three widgets. One is container, which is the most basic widget. Okay, if I compare it with basic HTML and CSS, you can perceive it to be a div, an analogous widget to div tag. So you can add a child to this widget. You can put anything inside this container. You can add padding, margin. You can change color, and everything you can do with a div, you can do with a container as well. So next is row. Row and column are very similar. They work similarly. Just the difference is row organizes elements horizontally, and column organizes elements vertically. Okay, but so if you want multiple elements put in a row, then you can use that, and similarly for column as well. So we'll move. So there's something called build method. So basically, what is a widget? Widget is basically a class written in Dart language, and wherever the widget has to be shown onto your screen, an object has to be created for that widget, for that class, basically. So, and every widget class will have a build method, which is predefined by Flutter, and it is automatically called when the object is created for that class. And on creating this, on creating the object, this method is called, and whatever is written inside this method is called, and then a widget is created onto your screen. And it returns a widget definitely because it has to create a widget. We'll see later how it works. Okay, then there are two basic types of widget. One is a stateless widget and one is a stateful widget. People coming from React background may know about these types of widget, stateless and stateful. So what the difference is, stateless widget is just to present data. So like any kind of static data, you can put in a stateless widget, which you need not to change. For example, imagine an Instagram post. Then there's something called stateful widget. So there could be some things which you need to update regularly in your web app. So they need to be put in stateful widget so that they can be updated on changing variables and something else, like comments, time of an Instagram post, and many things. Okay. So these are some more important widgets. We'll talk about them later. So let's move to what we will be making today. So this is a basic portfolio website we'll be making today. So this portfolio website was also made in one of our previous webinars by Madhav Well using React.js. So we'll be making the same portfolio, and you can later on compare both Flutter code and React code and pick up the framework you want to learn. So that's the thing. And we'll also deploy this portfolio onto Netlify, and we'll host it on your own link. Okay. So first of all, I'll open my terminal. I'll move to my directory once again. Okay, so basically, to use Flutter Web, you need to be on the beta channel because web is only available on beta channel as of now. So you can you can check what's your current channel by typing Flutter channel. It will show, like, I'm currently on beta channel. Default, it will be on stable channel. If you want to change your channel, you can just type Flutter channel beta. Then it will move to your beta channel. I'm already on beta channel, so I won't do that. And next thing what you want to do is you need to enable web. Like you want to tell Flutter that you are building a project for web, so you want to enable the web config. So for that, you can write web Flutter config dash dash enable dash. So it shows enable web set to true. Now you can create a project. You can create a project using Flutter create, and then you can give a project name. So you can create the project using this command, but currently I won't create a project because on beta branch, it can cause problems to create projects sometimes. And then I don't want the webinar to be interrupted. So I already created one project, and I will directly open that project. Okay. So this is a new project I already created before starting the webinar so that it is not interrupted. So this doesn't have many things. It just has one file, and Flutter uses Dart to make the apps. And this is just a basic file which is already given by Flutter. It's like a hello world program given by it. So we'll run it and we'll see what it is, and then we'll make our report. Just takes few seconds to run. Okay. So our code is compiled. I'll move. Okay. As you can see, it is the basic default app. It doesn't do much. It just says how many times you have pushed this button. If I click on this button, it shows that you have pressed it these many times. Okay. So I'm using, someone says which engineer you're using. Flutter has its own engine. So, and if you're talking about editor, I'm using Visual Studio Code. There's extensions available for Flutter on Visual Studio Code, and Visual Studio Code is a very light editor, so I like to use it. Okay, so now we'll move on to, like, I'll delete all the code and we'll write the code from scratch. Okay, so basically how you make, if you have heard, Flutter has a lot of pre-built components which we can use to make our web. So, and all those components can be extracted from various places. One of the major places is the material design. So we can use material UI components by importing a file which is provided by Flutter itself, which is material.dart. It is by default installed inside your project. So, okay, I'll also get you through with the project directory, like how the folders are there. So basically, this is a build folder where all of your output is provided. When I compile the code, this folder is created and all my files go into this. So we need not to care much about this folder. And lib folder is our main folder. Okay, I'll zoom it. Lib folder is the main folder where inside which we'll be writing our entire code. And web folder is the output for the web. Basically, we'll get all our index.html and every file's inside the web folder. And then there's the git ignore, then there's some metadata. We need not to worry about any of these files. We only need to worry about lib folder, and then there's another file, pubspec.yaml. So basically, if you use any external package, you need to edit this file and mention them here in the pubspec.yaml. It gives basic details about the project like name, description. This publish to you can leave. It's for publishing a package. Then this environment tells what version of Dart I'll be using inside my project. And this is the version for the project. And this is the dependencies part. This is the most important part of this file where I tell what all dependencies packages I'll be using in my project. So this Flutter is already put in a new project. And then Cupertino icons is also default one. This I added myself. I'll tell you what it is used for. And then there are some dev dependencies, you can leave them. Then there's some assets part. So basically, if you want to put some image, you need to specify this in this very format. And then all the format is pre-written here in comments. You can uncomment them and then easily put and give the path in this format as I've used this image asset / img and I've put my image. So basically I link that image here. And if I want to use some external font as well, I can put them here. Currently in this project, we won't use any external font, so we'll leave it for now. We'll write the code. So, okay, as I told you, everything is a widget. The app itself is a widget. So we'll create a widget. And how a widget is created. We need to extend, okay, we heard that there were two types of widgets, stateless widget and stateful widget, right? So we'll need to extend either a stateless widget or a stateful widget so that we can choose one type. Basically, extension is like inheriting that widget. So I'll create a stateless widget because in most of the part we'll be using stateless widget. And like if you feel we want to make this part dynamic, we convert it to a stateful widget. So I'll name this widget as my app because this is the root widget and this will be the app itself. And inside this, we have to return something. This is the build method. It will be called when this object is created for this widget. And we have to return something called material app, which we saw in the PPT. Okay, material app is the basic app structure which is provided by Material UI. And inside this, there are many parameters. Like you can say title, which will be shown on the title bar. And we have to specify a home page. So we'll specify the home page as say home view. We'll create this home view soon. The home view will be a widget itself, which will be the screen or home screen widget, and we'll create it soon. So basically, to run this app, we need to create an object or we need to do something, right? So like other languages, main function will be the function which will be called automatically when the project is built. And inside this, we'll call a function which is run app. And inside this, we will put my app. So what this will do is Flutter automatically calls the main function when we compile our code. And this syntax is basically to tell this is a function which with only one statement. And run app will actually create an object for this my app and it will run your web app. Okay. And inside this we return home view. Now we need to create this home view. So I'll create another folder in which I'll place all my screens. I'll name it as views. And inside views, I'll create another file, say home.dart. Okay, inside this, we'll write a code for a home page, which we'll call in this part. I'll again import material.dart. And I'll create another stateless widget because everything is a widget. And I'll name it as home. Okay, now this I'll call the object for this class in the main.dart file to specify the home page, and I need to import that file first. I'll say views /homeview.dart. The error is gone. And one thing which is very like awesome about Flutter, you need not to recompile your code every time you change anything in your code. So there's something called hot reload. Every time you change something, it automatically shows into your browser. As you can see, currently it's black because we haven't put anything inside our home view. So we'll put something soon enough, and it automatically reloads. So like if I change something, so basically this is a home screen. This is a complete screen. So I'll put scaffold, which we saw in the PPT. Scaffold is a page structure for a page, and this can take many arguments. Like you can put an app bar. App bar will be like normal nav bar you can put, but we don't have an app bar in this design, as you can see. So we'll put normal body. Inside body, what we'll put is, okay, you can see that we will understand the design first. You can see there's the entire page, and in the center of the page there's a white container. Okay, and which has some padding on top and bottom, and then right and left as well. So what we'll do is we'll first of all I'll set, okay, just okay, we'll put a container here, and I'll say padding equal to, I'll provide a padding to the container using padding argument. Basically, I created an object for the container, and I can pass named arguments inside the constructor of that container to specify different things. So I can specify, say, padding. I can say, you can see all the properties here, right? Alignment, child, color. Child will be the thing which we'll be putting inside that container. You can provide so many things. We'll not discuss all of them, but we'll see what all is required. Okay. So what we'll do is I'll add a container, and I'll put some padding because we need some padding on top and bottom and on left and right. So to provide padding, we have some, okay, Flutter also provides very good documentation. So if you hover on anything, you can see entire documentation for that, what all it takes, the description for that. So if you hover on padding, it asks for an edge insets geometry type, okay, argument. So what does it means? We'll provide something called edge insets. Edge insets is a class which helps to provide offset values onto some edge. So container has four edges, right, top, bottom, left, and right, and we can provide offset values using edge insets. So there are multiple constructors on edge insets. So if you press dot, then you can see there are many values like only, symmetric, and all. If I use all, then it will provide the same value to all the directions, but I want different values for vertical and different values for horizontal. So instead of all, I'll use symmetric. And then symmetric take two more arguments. Symmetric is a function called on this class. So inside symmetric, I'll place two arguments. One is vertical, and for vertical, say I'll pass 70, and for horizontal, I'll put say, okay, for horizontal I'll put 70, vertical I'll put 200. Okay, so it refreshes the code. You can still see nothing because everything is white. So what I'll do is I'll provide a color to my scaffold. Basically, at the entire page, I'll provide a color. I can provide the color using an argument. Say this is background color. Okay, and use a hex code. To put a hex code, you can say color. You can call a color object. And inside this, you can pass 0xFF. This is just to signify that you're passing a hexadecimal value with full opacity. And I'll put this HTML code as 79D70X. This is the same code we got for the green color. Okay, so we got the background color. And now we want to mention more about this container. We want to pass some child. We want to put something inside this container, right? So what we'll do is we'll first of all specify the color for this container. We can access various material colors using colors enum. Basically, colors is an enum which provides some constant values. As you can see in this autocomplete as well, you can access various colors, blue, gray, and then everything. I'll access white color, and I'll get a white container. I'll also add some constraints to this container, like min height and min width. So I'll add I'll add some, I'll, I'll put a child to this container, and inside this child I'll put constraint box. So what is this constraint box? Constraint box is a pre-built widget which helps to put some constraints on anything, which will pass inside this constraint box. So we can put constraints like minimum width, minimum height, maximum width, maximum height, and we can put constraints using box constraints. Box constraints is another class which is passed to the constraints argument. And inside this, you can see there are arguments like max height, max width. So I'll say our min height to be 400, and I'll say max width to be 1200, so that it doesn't go too much larger if the screen size is too big. Okay, that won't look good. And inside this constraint box, I'll put a child argument, and inside this child, I'll put my okay, we got this box, and inside this child we'll put our content. Okay, and this box is not in the center, as you can see. So we'll put it in the center also. On the container, there's an argument called alignment. Alignment can take various alignments using alignment object, basically enum, sorry. So using alignment enum, we can provide various alignment types. You can see there's bottom, center, bottom, left, right. I'll put it to be center. Okay, I have to remove the child. Okay, currently it takes complete space. That is happening because we haven't put anything inside the container. When we don't put anything inside the container, it takes the complete space. It doesn't care about the constraint box or anything. But we'll soon add things to this container. Okay, so we have to pass a child. Now inside this child, what we'll add is okay, we need to see the UI again. So inside this container, you can see there are two parts. One is this menu section, and then other is the about section. Okay, so they're laid out horizontally. They're laid out horizontally in a row. So we'll use a row widget. So inside child, what I'll do is I'll put a row. So I've put a row, and then inside a row, I can make my this part first, and then I'll put the second element. After that, it will place both these things in horizontal manner. So we'll make the first part. So to make the first part, we'll add the photo first and then text and then these links. So the first part is an image. To add an image, we need to use an image widget. An image widget will help us put an image from our assets. In my assets, I already added an image. So I'll use image.asset, and because it is an asset image, there can be three types of images. One can be asset image, one can be a network image. Network image is something if you want to show an image from a URL. So that's a network image, and then there's file image. File image is some if used if your image exists on your local storage of your device. So we'll use asset image for now. And we'll pass asset slash img slash e dot. Okay. And you can see we got the image. Okay, and okay, I'll do one thing. There's something called refactoring. So your all the code doesn't go into one file and it becomes big enough. So what we usually do is refactor the code. Okay, Akshat Gupta asks, what does override do? Override is actually a decorator. As I told, build is a pre-built method provided by Flutter. So it automatically runs its own code, but we need to override the method with our own code. So we'll put override decorator is put above the build method so that our code is overridden and our code is run instead of the Flutter's code. I hope I'm clear. Then Chaitanya Gupta asks how to simultaneously run and get the output on a web browser. See Chaitanya, that's what we are doing. That's what Flutter is awesome about. We are writing the code here and we are getting the output on the browser itself. See, like if I remove the image from here, I comment it. and I save the code, it shows syncing files, and if I go back, the image is already gone. Okay, so that's how things work simultaneously. So I'll come back. I was talking about refactoring. So basically, we can remove some part of code, and if you want to reuse that part, we can put it into some other file, and then we can call it here and create the object of that class in this part. So we'll do that for the body part. I'll select this part. I'll remove it here. Inside my lib folder, I'll create another folder, say components. And inside components, I'll say center box dot dot. Inside this, I will call material and state. I'll create a stateless widget. Say centered box, because currently I just wrote the code for centered box, and I'll put it over here. Okay. And this is the code, and I'll remove this row from here because this was a part of the inside the box, and I won't put it in the centered box itself. Rather, what I'll do is whatever I have to put inside this widget, I'll take it from the object itself. Like we can take elements inside object using constructors. So I'll define final widget child. This is a class member child which will take it when the object is created. I'll create a constructor. The constructor is created like a normal, like normally like any other language, you create a function with same name as your class name, and this function will be called when your object is created. That's what constructor is. And inside this, what I'll do is I'll take child as argument, or okay, let's leave that. I'll do something more interesting. There's something called this. So what this does is this will okay. I'll write the complete syntax first. What this does is this will automatically assign the argument which was passed in the object to the class member child which belongs to this class. Okay, that's very much similar to other languages. It happens this way. So whenever the object is created, whatever we pass inside the parameter of that object, it will be assigned to this variable child, and then we can pass this child inside this constraint box. I think correct. Everything is correct. We'll move back to home view, and inside home view, what I'll do is I'll call this widget which we created in that file. I'll create say centered box. And inside center box, the center box automatically got imported. Let's leave it. And centered box takes a child argument. We need to put curly braces so that we can use named arguments. Basically, there are two types of arguments in Flutter. One is named argument, and one is like positional arguments. Positional arguments will be like we pass based on their positions, but named arguments can be passed by using their names. So, like if I say child, it automatically pops up. Then I'm passing the child argument, and inside child, I can pass a container, and inside this, I'll add some. As you can see, there's some shadow also there. Then I'll assign the color also again. So what I'll do is I'll put some decoration onto the container. So decoration takes box decoration. So decoration, I'll add some shadow, box shadow, and as you can add multiple box shadows to any element. This is the basic like design feature. You can add multiple box shadows. So we'll provide a list of box shadows, and inside the list we'll provide box shadow, and we'll set various properties like blur radius and different things. We'll also set color of the shadow. We'll use colors dot black. We'll use black color for the shadow. And it's recommended to put commas after everything so that Flutter automatically reformats your code. As you can see, Flutter is very good at reformatting. Okay, someone is asking, can you suggest some good resources to learn Flutter? Okay, I'll tell you where you can learn Flutter in the end, detailed resources. So let's move. I added box shadow of color black, and I'll add offset. Offset is basically a coordinate point telling the direction in which you want the box shadow to be there. I'll pass say 4, 4, and I'll add some spread radius. Spread radius is how much the shadow is spreading. So I'll say 1. And I'll also say blur radius, how much the blur I want in that shadow. Let's say 20. And I'm saving both the files. And let's see how the output looks. Okay, we are getting white color in this background. So let's see what's the problem. Okay, I think I shouldn't pass this color white here over here, because we mentioned in this box color equal to white, we'll pass it in the centered box. So this is the container which is shown in this color. As you can see, there's the shadow. So inside this, I'll pass my color. Say colors dot. Okay, see, we got this effect. We got the container in the center with a box shadow as well, and it's a similar box shadow. Okay, you might be thinking this is a lighter box shadow. We are getting a darker box shadow. So what I'll do is I'll add opacity to white color. You can put it by using with opacity function. I'll use opacity 30%. 30% is okay. Okay, we got a lighter box shadow. Okay, so now we put content inside this box. What we need is first this menu section and then this content section. So okay. Okay, this is the container which we are working on, the white container. We'll pass a child argument onto this container. And as I told you, these are horizontal layered, so we'll use a row argument. And inside row, we don't pass a child, but we pass children because it can contain multiple elements. Okay. Inside children, first child part, I'll make this thing. So what is this thing? This is basically a column. Okay. So inside column, first there's image, then there's name my name, then there's some tagline, then there's these options. So inside a row, there's a column. So inside a row, the container, and inside this container, I'll pass my column. Okay. And column also takes children argument. And inside this I'll put a image. Okay. So let's say image slash img slash me dot j. Okay, you can see we got this image, but image is too big, it's overflowing. So I'll set height to this image. Let's say 150. Okay. So for that, we need to first of all clip it. So for clipping the images, or rather clipping anything, you can use something. Okay, first of all, you can refactor. For refactoring, you can press Shift Control R, which will give you these options, and it will help you to refactor your code. 1 second. Okay, so it gives you these options. Like I can wrap it with another widget. It will automatically place another widget, and I can put any widget. So I'll use a container. So okay, I have to clip it. So what Flutter provides is I can use clip oval. It allow me to provide a border radius around this widget. So it automatically gives an oval shape. So now my image here is a square shape. So it will convert it to a circle. I don't need to mention anything. As you can see, it is converted to a circle. And also I need to put that black line. So how to put that black line? So I'll put this clip oval inside a container. Okay. And now inside on this container, I'll add some properties. So I'll add some decoration. Okay. I'll add box decoration. And inside this box decoration, you see there's some property border. Now border takes a border object. Now I won't put the border object directly. I'll use border.all because I want it in all directions. So then here I can put color. I want a black color border. I use colors.black. I'll say width. I'll set it to 2, I guess. Okay, and okay, we got this, but we got this border, but it is in square shape. So what we'll do is we'll also put this container to be in circle. Now, how to do that? You can specify a shape for this. Give 1 second. Little factors. Inside this decoration, you can pass something called shape. Now, shape takes a box shape argument. Box shape will give you various options for a shape. Basic shapes are circle and rectangle. Put it to be circle, and we got a circular border. And let's add some padding also, so that we get that spacing between the border and the. I'll add some padding. Padding is outside box decoration. Say edging sets. I used a border edging sets.all because I want some padding in all the directions. Set it to 5 pixels. Okay, we got some spacing. Okay, looks pretty similar. And we want it to be centered. Okay, now how to do that? So first of all, we'll add some padding on top and bottom and left and right on this column. So above this column, we have this container. We can add the padding here. We can add padding agent sets. We'll use symmetric padding. We put horizontal to be say 50 and vertical to be say 30. Okay, we got some padding. And now I'll place a text below this inside this current column. Below the image, I'll place my name. I'll say text. Text is the basic widget we use to mention any text. So I'll say my name inside this. Takes a string argument. You can see my name is already there. Now I want to add some styling to this text. So after this string, I can pass a style argument, and it takes a text style object. And inside this, you can see all the properties which you can apply to a text. Let's say I want to change its size. I'll select size, and I'll say how much? 20, I guess. Okay, 20 is a bit smaller. I'll it to be 30. And also may add some weight, the font weight. But okay, it looks better. We'll add the tagline also. Below this text, we'll add another text. Say date to code. Okay. Save it, and we see shows it below this. We want to add italics, and I'll reduce the weight. Okay. So we'll add another style argument. Text style, and we'll add font style. Takes font style constant. Set it to italic. And after this, I'll also reduce weight because it's a tagline. It will look better if it has less font weight. Say font weight. Okay, so these are the different values for font weight. This is basically default bold, and your regular font weight is 500, as you can see these font weights on Google Fonts as well. So a lighter one is 300, I guess. 300 would be enough. Okay, 300 we got font weight. We'll add this line and these buttons. So for adding a line, I'll make a container, and I'll set its height to be 1 and width to say 200. Okay, and I'll set it to its color to be color start. I'll get a black color line. Got a black color line. And we want some spacing between these elements, between the name and image, and then above this line. So for adding spacing, we can add something called sized box. Okay. So, sized box is nothing but an empty space. You can tell how much spacing you want by telling height or width. So I'll provide height to be 20, and see 20 pixels are added between this image and text, as I added above text and below this image. And I'll copy this and do same for after the tagline. Okay, we got this. I'll copy this line also. I'll copy this line and I'll paste it below this. So we got two lines. Currently they're overlapped. We'll add the buttons between these two lines. So basically, okay, we'll move back to the PPT. We'll move forward. So let's see, these are some pre-built buttons which are provided inside Material UI. One is raised button and one is flat button. So the raised button will provide you a like elevation effect. It will have a box shadow and it will have a background color, and flat button will just show text. So yeah, this is what we need right now. We need a flat button. So I'll put a flat button. Flat button takes a child. Flat button is a pre-built widget, so we use that. Inside child, we put text because we want some text inside. Let's say about. Okay, now it shows a warning. So it says parameter on pressed is required. Obviously, because it's a button, so we need to tell on pressing what needs to be done. So inside on pressed, I passed an anonymous function, which will be called on pressing the button. What we'll do on this clicking of this button, we'll decide later. Currently, we'll leave it as it is. And you can see here the button is added. I'll just copy this button. Okay, and paste it. And I'll say skills, say projects. Okay, we got these three buttons, and we want this entire content to be vertically horizontal. So for that, what we can do? So we have this column, right? So on column, there are two things. One is the main axis, which is in the vertical direction, and one is the cross axis, which is in horizontal direction or perpendicular direction. So inside on main axis, we want it to be center. There's something called main axis alignment on this column, and we can set it to be main axis alignment dot center. Okay. See, we got this thing. We got the menu, and now we'll work upon the content. Currently, we won't make it dynamic. We'll make it dynamic later when we have created all the parts. So first, we'll work on about me part. Okay, so to make about me part, I'll make it in the component section. I'll make it separate from this so that I can reuse and I can change the content depending on those buttons. I'll say about underscore start. Okay, check if there are still not. Okay, they aren't any down. Again, import material dot. I'll create a stateless widget about content. I'll put a container. I'll add some padding. As you can see above this about me, there's some padding below also left and right. So we'll add some padding. Insert start symmetrical. We'll add say we'll add 50 for horizontal. Inside this, I'll pass a child argument. And now inside this about, you can see there are this text is placed vertically. So we'll use the column. Inside this column, we'll pass children, some commas to factor. That text saying about me. Okay. The text is not visible because we did call the about content inside our home screen. So we need to do something. First, what we'll do is I'll import the file. Say slash about content dot. And we created a row, right? You can see we have this row. And the first element of this container row was this container, the entire menu. After this, we'll add another argument. We will say about content. Okay. So now what we want is we want about content to take the maximum space available at this row. We do not want anything else, so we'll ask it to take the maximum space. How we can do that? We can create an expand. We'll wrap it with another widget. So we'll use expanded widget. What expanded widget does is expanded widget will help you to take the maximum space by the child provided inside that expanded. So about content will by default take all the space it can get inside that row. So you can see we got about me, and it's currently in center. We'll move it to left. So we'll add some text. We'll add some styling. We'll add style. I'll say font size equal to say 30, and I'll set font weight equal to loading. Okay, we got the about me text. You know about me, we can have some tagline. We'll add some sample line. Add some random text. And I'll again add some style. Say font. I don't change font size. I'll just change the font weight. Font weight 300 is the lighter one. Now let's move it to left. So how we can do that? We want the cross-axis alignment for this column. So we'll go to this column and we'll see cross-axis alignment is also available. We can change the cross-axis alignment. We'll change it to start. So because we want it to align in the start of the cross-axis. So, okay, we got this. Okay, we'll add this line also very soon. Let's just finish this about me section. Below this, I'll add some empty space, add a sized box, say of height, say 30. Okay, then we'll add another text. Just copy some run. Okay, see how it's looking. Okay, we got the text. I'll add another paragraph. Just copy this, and I'll add some spacing so between both paragraphs. Okay, we got the about section. You can increase the text size. It will most of the area. Then okay. So I'll increase the size of this text so that it's better. Add some styling. Style, say size equals to. It's pretty good to me. I'll add this same style. Okay, so our about section is done. Okay, we'll make the skills section now. So what's there in skills section? Inside skills section, there's again that heading, then there's this subtitle, and then there are different sections. So I'll make another component. There's skills underscore content. Made a folder. Sorry. Skills underscore. I'll copy all the code for about content. Paste it on skills content, and I'll rename this. For rename, you can just press F2 and it will rename all the occurrences of this about content. Inside, we don't have any, doesn't matter. We'll name it as skills content. Okay, and this I'll change it to skills. So I'll keep it as it is. And this part I'll remove because I don't want about section in my skills section. Currently, it's not visible. So what we need to do, I'll just go in the home screen and import the skills file, components slash skills underscore content. Okay. And we'll make the buttons working later on. Currently, I'll just switch the about screen with skills screen. It's an extra part. Okay, we got the skills page. Currently, buttons are not working. We'll make them work. So now we need to add different sections. So basically, if you can see, this part is redundant. The same, say, there's a similar pattern in all the sections, and this part is repeating, right? And okay, so will make it as a reusable component. So what I'll do is I'll go to components, I'll create another file, skills underscore dot put material, say stateless widget. It automatically creates a stateless widget. It's pre-built into Flutter extension. Rename it as skills section. Okay. Inside this, I'll in this container, I'll add some padding. Agents symmetry vertical, and then pass horizontal string. Okay, then I'll pass child argument. Child will be column. Inside column, we'll pass two arguments. I choose column because first we need the industrial knowledge text, and then we need these buttons or the containers. They are placed in a container. So first I'll add some, let's say, industry knowledge. Okay, we need to create this skill section inside your skills content file. So I'll import this skill section file. Now the size box, I'll say skills. Cool. Okay, we got this text. So we want the text to be bold. Let's add some styling. I'll add size to 4. Okay, so I got a bold text saying industry knowledge, and we'll add these boxes. So these boxes can also be reused. So I'll make them in a separate file. I'll make it a separate component. Say skill underscore box dot and imperial dot dot system repeating repeated. So we'll return a container. I'll put a specific height, say 50, and width, say 200. Okay. I'll say color equal to gray, and I'll say child equals to text. Now, what we need to put inside text? This box has to be reused, right? So we need to get the text from the object. So we'll create a constructor scale box, and I'll create a string. I'll create a string member of this class, string title. I'll take this inside this constructor using this argument. This dot title. So we have this skill box, and inside this text I'll pass title. And a skill box is made. Now I'll create the object for skill box inside the skill section. Import skill box inside this. Okay, now we want multiple boxes, and even if like our screen's file is smaller, we want them to go into next line. We want the boxes to wrap. So basically, as the name suggests, we want wrapping. So we'll use wrap widget. So what does wrap widget does is basically it is a combination of both row and column. You can specify children, and if the space is like finished in the direction you want, and then it will automatically add another line of the widgets. So first of all, I'll create the skill box inside this. I'll say skill box, and it takes a title argument as we created. It doesn't take a named argument; it takes a positional argument. So I'll say footer. Okay, wait for refresh. Okay, currently the box is not looking very good. So we'll change that in a moment. We'll add some border radius to the skill box. Basically, we'll add some decoration. We'll add box decoration. Say border radius. So border radius takes border radius. Okay, then border radius object has multiple constructors. One is all, one is circular. We want circular, and I'll set border radius to say refreshes. There's some error. Yeah, what's the error? So when you provide a decoration to a container, you cannot pass color separately. You have to pass color inside the box decoration argument. Okay, that worked, and we have this border radius. And we'll move the text to center by using alignment. Set alignment center. Cool. Hopefully it comes to center. Okay, yeah, we got it in the center. And I'll use a lighter color than gray. Won't use gray color. I'll use a lighter shade. So if you hover on gray color, you can see there are different shades provided. So I'll use this 200 shade and put this 200 inside a bracket. Get a lighter shade. It looks really much better. Yeah, I'll remove this padding. As you can see, they're aligned aligned together. So I'll remove all the padding which I added. It isn't looking nice. So I remove this padding. It's aligned together. I'll add some more skill boxes. I'll just copy it. Let's say, yeah, um, okay, as you can see, they are automatically arranged, and this move to center. Now this was a column, right? And we need to set cross axis on this column. So we'll set cross axis alignment on this column. We'll set it start. Okay, we got it in the start. I'll add some spacing also here using size box. Size box equals to 20. And we got this, and we want some spacing between the elements of this. Okay, so on wrap there's something called spacing. You can set spacing and run spacing. Spacing is basically horizontal, and run spacing is vertical by default, basically. And if you change the axis, then they get interchanged. So that's a little bit different. We won't discuss that. I'll set spacing to 10, and I'll set run spacing to also 10. You can see spacing is added. Now even if I reduce the size, it automatically goes into next row, and it adds spacing automatically. Okay, we don't need to do much stuff. Okay, so I'll add another section in the skills content. So I'll just copy and I'll paste. Okay, skills, I'll have added another skill section. So this is industry knowledge. And we want this skill section to be dynamic. Like I don't want to hard code the values. I want to pass those values inside the constructors. So I'll go to skill section. Instead of hard coding this value, I'll get it from a constructor. Okay, I'll set final string text and I'll get it from skills. I'll create a constructor, skill section, and I'll get it from, I'll make two named arguments. So to make name arguments, you need to use that curly braces format. So I'll say title, okay, at the rate required. I'll set this to be required. Required is a decorator to tell that this argument is required and this cannot be omitted. I'll use this dot title. Say I'll add another. Okay, we also inside this we want many skill boxes, right? So I don't want to create skill box again and again. Rather, what I'll do is I'll get a list of the all my skills, list of strings, and I'll create skill boxes from that list. So I'll get a list again. So list is basically an array. There's not nothing much inside that. And I'll say my skills. Okay. I'll say this will also be required. I'll say this dot skills. Cool. So now how to get, I'll change those values. And instead of industry knowledge, I'll say title, which we got from above. And instead of this, okay, so how we can do that? First of all, I'll make a hard-coded list. We'll make Flutter, React, and say Django. Okay. I want to convert this list of strings to a list of skill boxes, right? So I want to convert them to skill box. So on a list, you can call a method called map. Okay. So what map will do is it will traverse through your list and it will get every element of this list inside this function. Basically, it takes a function and this function will be called for every item in this list. So what I can do is I will just take multiple line format, and this e will be the element of the list currently we are referring to. Okay, it will loop through your list. So I'll return a skill box. Okay, I'll say e. E is basically like for first time it will be Flutter, then second time it will be React, then third time it will be Django. So for then three, it will loop through this list three times, and it will return three skill boxes automatically with the elements passed inside the skill box. Okay, but it shows some error. So let's see what this error is. It says element type blah 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 can't be assigned to list type widget. So children takes a list of widgets, right? But this thing is not a list of widgets. So what we need to do is what I'll do is I'll just remove these brackets and I'll convert this list I'll call a function called toList. It will convert this thing, all this thing, whatever this function is returning, to a list of skill boxes. Okay, now the error is gone. And okay, there's some error. Okay, this error is because we didn't pass any list in the skill section. We'll go to skill. We need to pass something over here. So I'll say industry knowledge. Okay, I need to use named arguments. Title. I need to pass skills. Skills will be a list of my skills. I'll say Flutter, React. Okay. And I'll comment this other one for now. And you can see this is there. But the list is still not dynamic. I put node over here and it says Django. Because in this skill section, you can see we are still hard coding it. We are not getting from the constructor. So it is very easy to do. I'll just delete this list and I'll put skills. Skills is the list we got from constructor. I can see it is dynamic. I'll go to skills content and I'll uncomment this, or rather I'll delete this and copy another skill set. And I'll change this thing. It says text skills. industry knowledge. I'll put save backend. Another one, graphic. Okay, we got this. So we need to add spacing between two scale sections. So I'll add a sized box. Height say 30 to 20. So we made the skill section as well. Check if you have any doubts. Akshat Gupta says, is there any resources where we can get all the attributes for size box? Okay, so Flutter has very good docs. If you want, you can go to flutter.dev. It's the official Flutter website. Then you can click on docs and you can see widget. There's something called Widget Catalog. Inside Widget Catalog, you will be able to see all the widgets available, which you can use inside Flutter. So currently mostly we are using material components. Material components like we use scaffold, we use material app, and we use button also. We use text, and okay, we use for layout we use container. Container must be there. Yeah, container is there. Look, expanded is there. So you can see all the widgets available in this Flutter docs. Okay, I hope I'm clear. Let's move back. Okay, so our skills is also done. Okay, one thing we need to do is we need to make it scrollable. See, Flutter websites are not auto scrollable. You need to make them scrollable manually. So, like if, okay, let me show you something. If I just copy paste it 3-4 times, okay, there are too many things created, and it's not scrolling, it's overflowing. So we need to create this part scrollable. So how to do that? This was the column, and we need to make this column as scrollable. So we'll wrap it inside a widget, which is single child scroll view. Okay, so basically single child scroll view, as the name suggests, it takes a single child and it makes that widget scrollable. So let that load into the browser. It's loaded. Now you can see it can be loaded. And one more thing I like along with scrollable, the single child scroll view is I can wrap it in another widget, scroll bar. By using this, I'll just be able to see a scroll bar when I scroll. So it's refreshing. And if I scroll now, you can see the scroll bar is also there. It's pretty simple, nothing much to tell. So our skill section is pretty much done. Now we'll make projects section. So inside project section, we'll make a projects file, projects underscore component dot. We'll copy the about content code. We'll paste it into projects component. We'll rename it again. Say projects content. I'll say projects over here. And we need to show this in your home screen. This is our home screen. Instead of skills content, we'll say projects content. It says auto import. Will import automatically. You can see it is imported. Projects component. Reloading. Okay. Now we can see the projects part. So we need to let's see how project looks. So we have this container with different projects. So we'll make a project box as well. Make a project box dot dot. Okay, inside this we'll import say material dot dot. We'll make a stateless widget. A project box. Inside this, I'll say inside the container I'll put some decoration. Say box decoration. Say border radius. Border radius dot circular 10. Starting radius. Add some color also. The color dot 100. Okay, so we added color. We want to add two elements inside this container. One is the title and one is description. So basically these are placed inside a column. So we'll make a column inside this. Inside a container, I'll pass a child argument, column, and inside column I'll pass children. Inside children first will be text. Now I'll make it dynamic directly. Get final string title. Say final string description. Make the construct start from the description. Inside this text, I'll just written. Inside this, I'll say style. I'll say add some styling. Like text. Say size 84. Add weight also. Font weight dot bold. We need to create this project box inside the project section. I mean project comp. So what I'll do is I'll remove this part. This was in the about part. We copy. Create project box. The auto import. Pass a title. Say project one. Add description. Say some description here. We'll see what changes. We can see the title. We didn't place the description as of now. Let's spacing. We'll add another thing. We should be able to see the box. We'll make the cross-axis alignment again. Start. To start. It's taking time. You can see. I'll reduce the spacing and I'll add some padding also. Set it. Say on this container, I'll add some padding. Sets. I'll add this unique similar padding to all the directions. Say 20. And it looks pretty good now. So I'll add another project. Project box is done. We can close this one. I'll add another project over here. Just copy. Resized box. Height equal. My project is added. I'll also make this as scrollable because there can be multiple projects. Add another project. This will overflow. So we'll make it scrollable. This column will say single child scroll view. We'll wrap it scroll bar, like we did for the skill section. So okay, the project section is also done. It is scrollable. Let's just see. Skill section is also done. Make the okay. I'll go to about section once again. About content. Sorry. I think I did make this about section as scrollable. Make this about content also as scrollable because there can be more info below this. Single child scroll view. Scroll bar. Okay. So our basic structure is pretty much done. We need to make it dynamic. Check if you guys have any doubts. We'll make it dynamic. Like for clicking the buttons, I should be able to see different sections. So how to do that? I'll go to home view and we need to put something inside these methods on press methods so that something happens and this part changes automatically. Currently, I change it manually using hard coding, pass skills content, but we want it to be dynamic, right? So we'll make it dynamic. So for making dynamic, what I'll do is I'll convert it to a stateful widget. Okay, so because as we discussed, stateful widget is something which is used where you need the content to change. Stateful widget, I'll just press command Control Shift R and it will show refactoring option as convert to stateful widget. Inside this, I'll say final string. Or basically I need to have a flag variable which will help me to check which screen is open right now. And what I'll do is I won't use final because it is not a constant. Final is a keyword which is used to define runtime constant. So I'll use say int. I just define an int selected screen. Okay, this is a private variable. That's why I mentioned underscore. Say 0. This initial screen will be 0th screen. We'll have 3 screens 0, 1, and 2. Okay. So inside this function, what we'll do. So there's for a stateful widget, there's something called set state. Now what set state does is I'll tell you more about stateful widget. Stateful widget has its own state, like it can change its state. So state is basically you can think it like data. So stateful widget have a state of data and it can be changed using some ways. Set state method is one of them. So whenever set state is called, okay, so whenever this function is called, what it will do is it will call the build method again, and everything will run again. And whatever data you changed, the new widget, UI will be created according to that data. So inside set state, what I'll do is there was my variable selected set screen. I'll change its value. So for about screen, it's 0. I'll copy this. Inside skills, I'll paste this and I'll change it to 1. When I click skills, rebuild my build method, okay, and change the value of selected screen to 1. That's what I'm doing. So I'll do same for projects and I'll change it to 2. Okay. But still the buttons won't work because we are changing the values of the underscore selected screen, but we are not using it to display the screen. We need to use that value to display the screen over here. So what I'll use is I'll use a ternary operator. Ternary operator is nothing but to specify a simple condition in one line. So I'll say selected screen is equals to 0. This is a normal ternary operator. It is similar in most of the languages. So if it is equal to 0, I will say about content. Okay, else I'll check for another condition. If selected screen equal to 1, then I'll show skill screen. Otherwise, I'll show projects content. Okay, so let's wait for it to load. It's reloaded, and now it should change. If I click on about, see it changed. If I click on skills, I can see skills section. Click on projects, I can see projects section. Okay, so this thing is working. Now we need that vertical line. That is very simple to add. Inside this row, you can see we created this row. We'll add a vertical line between this part and the menu part. Add a container and set its width to be 1 and height to be double dot infinity. Okay. Double dot infinity is basically your mathematical infinity. It will, we don't know the height of this container, so it will extend till infinity. And we'll add a color of dot black. Okay, so we got this line. And it is not till end, it has some margin. So I'll add some margin. Margin is works similarly like padding. It takes edging sets, but it will add margin instead of padding. Edging sets dot, I'll say symmetric because I want it with margin only in the vertical direction. Say 20. Refreshing. You can see we got the, so our portfolio is pretty much done. But if you see, if I go to mobile view, you'll see that it's not dynamic. Okay, it has some weird layout now on the phone size. So we have to make it responsive. So we'll make it responsive very easily. So what we need to do is, first of all, when it goes to mobile layout, it still has too much padding on top and on horizontal also. I'll reduce that. So basically we have this centered box, right, which is this white box. So we'll reduce the padding. This is the padding, and we'll reduce it on phone device. So how to check if our width is our phone device? For that, what I used is, okay, first of all, I'll tell you something else. We have this platform for Flutter developers called pub.dev. You can get so many pre-built packages, plugins on this platform. So one of the basically this is some other libraries which someone else wrote and which you can use in your code. So there's one package I like it for making responsive website, responsive builder. Okay, I'll search it from here. In search, I'm able to see responsive builder. This is the one. So basically, it helps me to get the layout. Like if I'm on a phone screen or I'm on a laptop screen, it will tell. See, if it has a pretty good docs. So it shows that I can use this widget responsive builder, and basically it will give me this device screen type. I can check it if it is on desktop, it is on tablet. It works automatically, and it will automatically tell me if I'm using a desktop or a. Okay, so that's the thing. So I'll wrap this container and how to install this package. We just go to the prospect.yaml, we see the dependencies, and inside dependencies we can just go ahead and copy paste this line. I already copy pasted because I'm on beta branch, and on beta branch it sometimes pops error. So I did that before starting the webinar. So it is already installed in this project. So you just paste that and save the file, it automatically installs in your project. So I'll go to about content. Now what I can do is I can import. If you see the docs, it says you have to import this file. I'll import this responsive. You can see Flutter automatically shows me the file which I'm trying to. And I'll wrap this container with a responsive builder. Okay, this is the responsive builder. And if you can see, it takes a builder argument, not a child argument. So I'll, instead of child, I'll use build, and it takes a function. Basically, this entire thing is a function. It is an anonymous function which gets two arguments from Flutter. The first one is context. Okay, what is context? We need not to discuss as of now. We can skip context. Context is a deeper concept. This is builder, not. And second is sizing info. Okay, and then we have to return this. Basically, this is a single line function, and it automatically returns whatever is mentioned. So, okay, we implemented responsive builder. Now we need to change this padding. Okay, depending this thing. Second. Okay, cool. So we'll reduce this padding if we are on phone size. So what I'll do is instead in this vertical argument, I'll use a sizing and I'll use a ternary operator. I'll get sizing info as he used it here, sizing information. dot, and then I'll directly use is mobile. So is mobile will directly give me a Boolean value. Gives me a Boolean value true if I'm using the website on a mobile, else it gives a false. So if I'm on mobile, I'll say vertical padding to 20 maybe, and I'll copy the same for width also. Okay, some part. Okay, we are doing it in the wrong file. Sorry, sorry. We need not to do in about content. We need to do in the back to other one. We need to do it in the centered box. Put container to responsive. And we need to import responsive builder file. It takes a chunk. It's a bit context takes sizing info. This sizing info and context is automatically provided by Flutter, so we need not to worry about that. That's the awesome part. We automatically get it from Flutter. So now here we can put, see, and use a ternary operator. Use sizing info dot is mobile, and if it is mobile, I'll set it to 3 maybe, else 200, and I'll do the same for width also. Let's copy this. So see how it looks. Okay, I'll reduce it for. Okay, it looks pretty much better. But we need to move this also. The inside content is currently inside a row, but no, we can move it in a column. See, I'll show you the design. I go to the phone layout. What it does is it moves the content inside a column. Earlier it was in a row. So what we can do is we go to the home screen. Instead of this row, what we'll do is we'll put a column, and if we are viewing it on a mobile. So what we can do, we'll put this container. Second. Okay, yeah. So basically, instead we'll put this row in a widget. We'll use that widget from the file responsive builder. Okay, and if you go to the docs of responsive builder, you'll see another widget, which is screen type layout. The screen type layout will help you to pass different widgets for different layout. Like on mobile, this container will be shown. If I'm watching on desktop, this container would be shown, and similarly for tablet and watch also. So basically, name it as screen type layout, and when we are on desktop, right, we want this to be a row. I'll copy this entire code. Okay, and when we are on a mobile, we want the exact same code, but we okay, got a comma here. But we want it to be in a column, right? And okay, I guess it's okay. We'll save it and refresh. It's taking. Click on what. Okay, it's done. So, alright, it shows some error. So let's see what's the error. I'll tell you what's the error is. So when we are using a column, if you remember, we okay, we made this line, right? I'll show you. This line, when we created, we passed the height to be double dot infinity. Now, a column doesn't have a restricted height. So, because we can put as many elements in a column, so we can put it we can't put height to be double dot infinity. So we'll change that. Okay. So we'll say height equal to 1, and we'll say width equal to double dot infinity. And margin also will say horizontal equal to 2. See, we got it up. Okay, everything is working, and you can see we have this about section, and the site is responsive. So we made the site responsive by just using few tips and tricks. We used an external library, responsive builder, and a site is responsive. Cool. So I guess everything is done. I'll see if anyone has any doubts. Guys, if you have any doubts, you can mention them in the chat section. And if you don't have any doubts, we'll proceed to deploying a Flutter web. Okay, I guess I'll move to deploying this website. We'll use Netlify for deploying the website. Let's see how it can be deployed. So basically, Flutter web apps can be sometimes very difficult to deploy. Even in the beginning, I couldn't find a good way to deploy Flutter. But then I discovered Netlify, and Netlify is a very easy way to deploy a Flutter web apps. So basically, I'll go to Netlify. You need to add your code to your GitHub repo. So actually, this already is a GitHub repo, and I'll just push this code. Let's say GitHub git done, and I'll just push it to master. Some standard. Okay, I'll just push it. Cool. It is now deployed on my GitHub repo. I'll go to Netlify. I'll choose a new site from Git. I'll take GitHub. So it is already logged in my GitHub account. I'll choose the repo which I use to create this. So it's the portfolio. It was the name of the repo. Yeah, this is the repo. So we need for Flutter web apps, we need to put something into this build command and publish it. You can see this is the build command. So I'll just copy this. This is doing nothing, but it is just copying. It is just downloading Flutter SDK onto Netlify servers, and we need to mention the publish directory that is build/web. That is basically the output repo for our code, and we'll just say deploy. Deploy. It will take just like 2-3 minutes because it has to download Flutter SDK servers, and then it will run up, and our site will be deployed. So that's it for the webinar. If you want, you can have my contact info. This is the contact info. We'll wait for the site to deploy. Meanwhile, you can ask any doubts if you have any for the webinar. When it is deployed. If you have any doubts, you can ask in chat section. Doubts. Let's go see if the site is deployed. It says building. If you want, you can see the logs on the Netlify server. Running all the logs. Code will be And meanwhile, I'll show you some cool resources where you can learn Flutter from. So basically, Flutter itself has its own very good docs. You can refer from the docs and like you can pretty much learn Flutter from the docs itself. It has the best in class docs which I have seen. It has best autocomplete. Like I haven't seen any better autocomplete than Flutter in any other framework. Everything pops up when you start typing anything, and you can view entire documentation over here. And also on our CodeChef repo, we have created a repository named resources. So if you want, you can go to this repo and there's a Flutter link. There's a README file created which has all the links to resources where you can learn Flutter. There's everything you see. So that's it. Let's see if our site is deployed. It says site is live. Just see. We'll go to the link. Our site is deployed. You can see it's on our Netlify link. Site is responsive. That's it for the webinar. If you have doubts, you can ask. We'll keep the webinar going for 2-3 more. Okay, I guess we will end the webinar here. If you have any doubts, you can connect me on LinkedIn and you can send an email. That's it, and we'll end the webinar.